I want to talk a little bit about why, when planning for remote asynchronous learning, teacher clarity has never been more important. If clarity is important in the classroom, it's even more so when we're not physically with our students in the same space. With students out of the classroom, we can't just post the learning objective on the whiteboard at the front of the class and walk the students through it. We need to actually make sure that we set students up to be successful. And John Antonetti's done a whole lot of fantastic research on student engagement and learning design. And these 4 questions are at the heart of the process. For students to engage deep in their learning, it's essential that they can actually articulate what it is they're actually doing. And if they can do that, they need to be able to tell you what they're learning as a result of doing. They also need sight of why they're learning. Why am I doing this right now? Where does it fit with what I've done before? What do I need to bring to this activity that I already know? How can we activate that prior knowledge? And of course, to be successful, students need to know what success looks like. Otherwise, they can only be successful by chance. So, without students being able to answer these questions, metacognition becomes problematic. I can't reflect on my learning unless I know or have an understanding of the what, the why, and the how. I can't take notes unless I'm in a position to determine what matters enough to be recorded. So in Verso, we've been really careful to make sure that we've incorporated core principles of learning design into our activity builder, a space where teachers are required to share the learning objective, stimulus activity, detailed explicit instructions for the students on how to engage with the content, how to actually engage with one another, and then how to engage with one another's ideas. And of course, then setting students up to be successful. The whole last section of any kind of Verso activity is designed to tell the students what they need to do to be successful. So in this particular example, the students are given a model or a waggle, what a good one looks like. They're also given the essential contextual vocabulary that's required to successfully complete the activity, which of course not only gives them the vocabulary but also signals where they need to take their thinking. Similarly for academic vocabulary, it's fine giving them the Tier 3 language, but unless they've got appropriate Tier 2 language that meets the requirement of the task, it's very hard for them to articulate their ideas at the right level. So providing that language is mission critical. This next example, students are actually looking at a social studies context. They've got the learning objective, the instructions are there. What the teacher's done this time is equipped the students at success by giving them a basic rubric, and they're required to use that rubric to comment and give feedback on one another's work. A slight change of that one, students in this particular instance, when they're looking at creating an infographic on hand washing in the home, they've been asked to complete an infographic. They've been given some basic criteria, what needs to be included in that infographic, but they've also been given a single point rubric to self-assess and to peer review using those core headings. This example here, where students are doing book reviews and they're sharing what they're reading with their peers outside of the classroom, the students have been required to co-construct success criteria. They've been given a model response by the teacher, but there's a significant gap here where they have to add elements of their own to those criteria based on their reading of examples of student book reviews from an authoritative website. So the students are creating their own, adding them to the teachers, and then using those to self-review and peer assess. This example here, really basic one, where students are asking questions to further their home-based inquiry. The students have just simply been given some conversation starters, basic questioning starters that will help them with, again, where to take their thinking and what they need to do to be successful, and of course accompanied by the language components. This final example Students are given a model. This time the success criteria here come from an expert. This is Reedsy, who in the video walks the students through what a professional book reviewer needs to incorporate in a high quality review. Now, if I just go to edit this activity, just so you can see the activity builder, we've actually structured this builder to take notes at different stages of the lessons. The first thing you do with your students is you look at ways of revealing prior learning. Our little light bulb buttons here give teachers tips as to why this is important and links to strategies that will help them do that in and outside the classroom. The next part of the process is to add the learning objective. Again, a few tips for the teacher there in creating that. Give the activity a name and obviously assign it to your class. Then you put your stimulus in, and then the explicit instructions. Again, you're not in the room with the students, so the students need everything they can to know how to engage with the content, with the ideas, with each other. The next stage is where we start the what do I need to be successful element. This is where you put your sentence stems, writing frames, models, rubrics, anything the students can use to advance their own learning. You've given them sight of what's required. They can use that for peer review and self-assessment. The final component is where you then equip the students with the essential contextual language they need to use to be successful and the academic language they need to use to articulate their thinking in line with the requirements of the task. And of course then you've got advanced options where you can start to think about allowing the students to ask the teacher questions using audio, to incorporate images or videos.